Hello, Arik.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
I would like to ask you several questions about your Nikean business. First question is, what brought you into this business?
Okay. I guess we were introduced to Nikean some years ago when my wife had a very serious back problem, and she had been through all the medical interventions that really anybody could come up with, so the doctor and the physio and the chiro and then all her teams of shiatsu friends and so on. And after about 3 months she was on her feet but still having quite significant limitations to the point where she couldn't sit and work she couldn't really sit for more than 15-20 minutes, so that ruled out working, going to the theatre, and all sorts of things. And a friend, one of her shiatsu teachers, suggested that she had come across some Japanese health technologies that had really helped her, and so she suggested that Dali might like to try them, and within a week that was the end of her back problem. So that was really the first point of introduction to Nikean.
Was there something in particular that interested you beside the fact, you know, you could buy the belt and go on with your life? So was there any particular thing that caught your attention in the business, or?
Well, I guess the next stage was that Dahlia came to me a few days later and said that there was she'd been told that there was a business attached to this, and she'd had a look at it and had been quite impressed, and so would I take a look at it myself and see whether she had missed anything critical. At some point a few weeks later I finally became guilty enough that I forced myself to sit down with all the papers and the documents and to start looking. And much to my surprise, I found that I became increasingly interested as I looked through the papers. And I think the first thing that I found that was interesting was the way in which the business was structured as a partnership. And I realized that over the years I had had many reservations, mostly unconscious reservations, about the whole process of employment and the way in which a business necessarily makes a profit on the labor of the people that it employs, the limitations on their future with the business, particularly if it's a small business where there's a very rigid hierarchy. And although that is the way people make their living and it's a necessary part of modern life, it is also an exploitative relationship. And so as I started to look through the Nikean documents, I realized that what we had was a partnership, an equal partnership of people who all had the same terms of business, the same methods and structure of payment. Everybody had the same opportunities. There was no rigid hierarchy, so everybody had the same possibilities of success as everybody else. And I liked the way in which that then dealt with many of my reservations that I had developed over the years about the employment process. So I think that was probably the first point of interest. And then it went on. Let me think. My background was architecture, so I was certainly not expecting to do anything else, and I wasn't looking for anything else. And so I think the next thing that I really liked was the idea that these were health technologies that had been developed in Japan that had such a significant impact on so many of the common experiences that we find in the modern Western world. Almost mainstream in Japan, almost unknown in the West. And my opportunity, as I saw it from a business perspective, was to bridge the culture and the language barriers so that people in the West could learn the wisdom and the developments that Nikean had made and see a significant impact in their own lives in the way that we had seen in our lives.
Now you are very successful in Nikean, and what interests lots of people is how did you become so successful? Is there anything in particular? Is there something that you would like to share with us? In short, of course.
Okay. I guess in thinking about being successful, the question is, what is success? And there's an American writer and philosopher called Maya Angelou who defines success as being happy with oneself, being happy with what one does, and being happy with the way one does it. And on that definition, Nikean has really transformed my life. I'm experiencing at the moment some of the my past life in architecture, in that we've bought an apartment and I'm involved in supervising the works. And I realize the pleasure and the freedom that I get from my Nikean business, which is really to act as a guide to help other people to discover things that can be important for them in their lives. And actually, although I love architecture, and when things are going well, it makes my heart sing, and when things are going badly, it makes my heart sink. In the end, I think I probably get more fulfillment from my Nikean business, because that's just part of my life. It has become part of me, and so it's changed my path, not just what I do. So I think in those terms, it's been an enormous change for me.
Thank you.